I'm Billy Rock on any block. A lot of people may not know that because it's different than generation and everything now, but yeah. My name is Chef Kelston Moore, and we're in San Diego, California. My philosophy when it comes to the kitchen is more of a very relaxed environment where we can all be comfortable and be ourselves, because at the end of the day, you can't reach your full potential if you're not yourself. I like to make sure that things are structured and organized and in sequence, and that stems from being in the military. So, but definitely a very relaxed, free-flowing kitchen. Being able to have no restrictions and just do with what I feel in the moment, not something. And I find like most of the time when I do plan something, it doesn't work out like that way. So I'm a very free-flowing person. I feel as though in this industry, a lot of people think that because of the time that they have, that they know everything. And me, I'm the type of person that no matter where I've been, no matter how old I am, and the things that I've been through, I always act like, I'm still open to learn. I learn from life. Experience has always been my best teacher. My background pairs into the flavors that I create based on, like I said, experience has always been my best teacher, and life has been my best teacher. So the things that I've learned in life and the things that I've came from show up in my dishes. That's why I always plate how I feel, or I free flow in a sense. So every aspect of my life ties, just like how this interview is all tying back to each other, and that's what real life is about. Well, first off, I don't believe anything goes perfectly. We plan to have it at a specific time, and it never works out like that. And that's really what life is. And you're more of just adjusting on the spot. So there's people in the kitchen tonight that have roles to where like Chef Daniela, she's running service because that's what she's great at. Chef Duval, he's more of like our ordering guide, making sure everything's there. And then me, I'm like the touching tables and talking to people because that's what they don't want to do. So it's like everybody has their own specific role, and that's what makes us so great together, is because we all realize our strengths and our weaknesses, and we all help each other to bring the whole ship together. Chefs wear white, you know. I don't know. I just feel like okay. The significance on the color of the chef coat. I think that white is one of those colors where it makes you naturally relaxed, and and especially with all of us down there wearing white, it's also showing that one person is not better than the next, and we're all a team. Whether I like long sleeves, someone likes short sleeve, but we're all in the same exact chef coats or different, same color, same apron, and that it just makes us feel more unified.
Okay, we're going to move into some questions about the Food and Wine Festival. What inspired you to participate in the San Diego Bay Wine and Food Festival?
What inspired me to be in the San Diego Bay and Wine Food Festival is the fact that I was never a part of the festival. And when I was coming up, and I've always wanted to be, I was always like, man, I want to be one of those chefs. Like, I want to do that. And I told myself I was going to do it. And then I think about 2 years ago, I told Chef Quinn, when he had me assist him, I said, watch, bro, it's going to be 5 or 6. We're all going to be here. And, every year it's just been really better. And I think the Food and Wine Festival is really just a place that you can showcase your talents. You can meet other people, especially like the chefs and the vendors and the wine connoisseurs, and it's just like a mixing of people in our industry where you're able to network and most importantly learn. So
Awesome. How has the festival impacted your culinary career?
the festival has impacted my culinary career based on the fact that I was able to connect with other chefs. Being able to text a chef and be like, hey, I'm going to Mexico City in a week. Do you know any restaurants? Hey, I can get you in this restaurant, and it was life changing. So the networking aspect of it as a chef or a hospitality worker I think it's like the time of the year for us where we really look forward to it because we don't know who we're going to meet the next festival.
How do events like this contribute to the culinary community in San Diego?
Events like this really contribute to the culinary community in San Diego because San Diego is small but very big. And you don't know everyone, and some of the OGs are here. You're like, who is that old guy or who is that old person, But it's a space where we come together, and it's just like the younger generation with the older generation, and we just mix, and you can gain amounts of knowledge. And I think that knowledge is one of the things that need to be shared, and festivals like this are a good platform to be able to share with people that you probably would have never seen if you were a line cook or an executive chef. You don't really like bump into each other, like that in the hospitality world very often. So I think that more of the knowledge sharing and mixing. The importance of being a unified front in the kitchen is because everybody knows there's a hierarchy. There's always somebody at the top. There's always somebody at the bottom. And, like we already know that, especially if you're a chef coming in and you're nervous already. And, even haven't been cooking that long professionally, like a lot of the chefs down there. And I still feel like they listen to me and I listen to them, and I'm able to not to say like, all right, I'm not gonna tell them what I'm doing, or I can literally ask for help. And I feel as though when everyone are wearing the same color chef coats and aprons and just a unified front, it makes the team feel more connected, and you're able to be more open to asking for help. Because a lot of people don't like to ask for help, and I think that when you feel like we look the same, like that's a big aspect of making someone open up to you and obviously better themselves in their career.
What's the feeling?
The difference from the beginning of a plate to the end of the plate is, at the beginning of the plate, I know like, hey, this is what I want. This is what I want. And then at the end of the plate, it's just like, yeah, that was really not the fuck I wanted. But it looked good because you're able to adapt and change. And like I said earlier, we can all plan something, but I think that yes, you can plan, but it's more about adapting in your feet when you need to change. We all have these dishes, especially me. I have a lot of ideas flowing in my head when I'm plating my dishes, or I have a drawing, and then I'm in the middle of the heat, and then it's just like, all right, well, this isn't holding together because it's so hot in here, so I got to adapt, yeah. No, yes and no. Sometimes when you can tell when someone's really enjoying your dish is either when they're not saying anything, and then when they're trying to think or decipher what's in the dish. I mean, I think people come to events and they're hungry, they're just gonna eat. But then you look at that one person and you could just see the feeling on their face when they're like, man, I remember my grandmother used to make a raspberry pie. And that's the whole reason of why we do this. And going back to family and food, everything that goes on a plate we're wanting to bring back that family aspect, or that time when you remember grandmother, slaving in the kitchen for all these hours, and while we're all hungry as kids waiting for her to finish cooking, now you remember that because you smelled it or you tasted it. So when people are like looking around and they're like, what is that? Or like, and you feel like that sigh of relief, like in Ratatouille, that's the same exact, that's what gives me the gratification. It's just like, oh yeah, I know they enjoyed it.